Welcome to 2025. What is this year going to bring? Well, I'm glad you're here because I've got 3 top predictions of what I think is going to happen in 2025 and make all our dreams come true. I'm Neil Millard from Tech Answers Club, DevOps Professional of the Year 2024, so last year, and I help IT professionals with software delivery, DevOps, and careers advice. So what will 2025 do to us? It's a long time since I started in IT. In 1995, 30 years ago, I was a trainee for 2 years, engineer for 2 years working on desktops, 2 years on server software, and then I went contracting for approximately £500 a day, corrected for today's inflation figure. But like any great planning, we need to know where we are first. I fly helicopters, you may have noticed on the channel. And we have aviation maps. They tell us the bits where we can go, where we're not supposed to go, and the bits in the middle where you have to ask permission for somebody to go. Well, that's okay. Last year we started with lots of things that are interested in the space. I've got another video about what those changes were, open source and things. But meanwhile, let's get on with it. What's the new things that we can look forward to? Could it be to do with communication? The way that we talk to each other. I mean, mobile phones was the biggest change in that area. Maybe something else. Containers. Let's containerize everything. I don't know if you've tried this. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it's really, really hard. Maybe there's something in there for us container likes. Or is it to do with CI/CD pipelines? My pet project is automating CI/CD pipelines so that you can build your software, get it tested, get it deployed, and focus on what you love doing, which is writing code. Well, all of those things could be achieved with AI. AI launched onto the scene in 2023, and it's been growing in popularity and power ever since. I'm not sure why they trained it against Reddit. I don't know if you've ever been to Reddit. It's a great source of information. It's also like the bottom of the internet as well. But imagine waking up finding your entire DevOps pipeline is optimized overnight. Your code is reviewed, your infrastructure is scaled, and your coffee is, well, you still have to make that coffee for yourself. But in 2025, AI agents are going to transform how we work in ways that will make ChatGPT look like a calculator. Let's dive in. Multi-agent systems. 3 simple words. But what it means is that we can use a multi-agent system together with AI. There's software like Crew, where AI agents can become autonomous systems. And those autonomous systems can plan complex tasks, execute multiple steps without human intervention, learn from their mistakes, arguably, and collaborate, this is the biggie, with other AI agents. So when it's talking about breaking tasks into little smaller tasks, it can hand those off to separate different agents. It's all AI at the back end, but you give it a different context, you give it a different instruction, and it can come back with some better results. And that collaboration will really bring the whole thing together. Will they replace you? Probably not. When we're talking about technology, it's always about doing or delivering more with the same resources. You know, we have a food processor at home, and sometimes I make mayonnaise with it. Never done that. But apparently, it says on the box you can make mayonnaise. So even if a dullard like me in the kitchen can make mayonnaise with a food processor, that is providing an output, something that I couldn't do without that technology. And so AI is the same. It's not about replacing you. It's about augmentation and focusing on work that you wouldn't otherwise get done. See, AI can't create original stuff. It can just take stuff that it already knows about and rehash it together. And if it trains enough on its own stuff, then there's a horrible feedback loop that means it'll collapse. Model collapse, they call it. We've already done studies on it. 5 or 6, training loops down the line, And AI suddenly starts spitting out garbage because it's just, regurgitating its own stuff. So humans cannot be replaced by AI. So moving swiftly on, remember when everyone said cloud is the future? Well, plot twist, apparently it isn't. So there's stuff that you need to know about moving to the cloud. There's infrastructure costs. There's data transfer costs. Transferring from here to there, and everything is data, right? Storage costs. Once you've transferred it, you've then got to store it somewhere. And this data can get big, especially if you're dealing with AI land. And then there's hidden operational costs. That's stuff like somebody's got to pay for the people that are actually creating and running and keeping this thing from not breaking. So let me show you the real cost comparison. You've got modern hardware efficiency, great. You've got predictable workloads, great. Well, when you're at scale with modern hardware and predictable workloads, then cloud is not always the answer. Picture this, your data, your hardware, and therefore your rules. You've got complete control over the infrastructure. Customization, optimization are all possible because you control everything. There's lower latency for specific use cases. You can put specific stuff next to other stuff. Put your database right next to your application servers or even on the same switch. You've got that flexibility. In the cloud, you don't have that much control. And it's like owning versus renting, but for your servers. What are we talking about here? We're talking about cloud repatriation. Some of the bigger players have already done it. They've moved over to the cloud, they've run the cloud, and now they're moving stuff there back to the main data center. And the thing is, it's not all or nothing. You can have smart workload distributions and cloud bursting strategies. I spoke about that on another video where we can take a hybrid of a static workload that provides us with a baseline, and then we use the cloud for doing some spiky stuff for when we get those I'll show my age there, big traffic spike moments, let's call it that. And so it's like having a vacation home in the cloud. You only use it temporarily, right? And so if you're thinking about cloud repatriation, I've put together a decision matrix at techanswers.club. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button where we touch onto all sorts of tech, stuff about tech. Anyway, there's a free link down there where you can get that cloud repatriation matrix. And on to my third prediction. Imagine never having to iron your clothes again. Quite difficult to say, apparently. And it also sounds amazing. Show it a tangled shirt and then it's ironed. Mind blown. We can have a simple robot that holds up the ironed shirt, and that might change the entire economy. Maybe this is the year. I'm talking about robots, robot revolution. Why is ironing a really good example to go with? Well, if a task is really complex but requires precision and is repetitive but variable, you don't always wear the same clothes and they don't always need the same level of ironing, and it's a high demand service. I ask you, who loves ironing? Okay, there's some people out there that might do that, but most of the people just see it as a hash. I mean, look at this lovely ironed shirt. Never ironed. Anyway, trying to iron a shirt is really hard. It's like trying to teach a helicopter to hover. You get a standard helicopter that tries to hover. We had to give it 4 blades in order for it to, and it's called drones, right? Really tricky. But what happens when we give the robots the power to master those tasks? Service industry transformation. We've already got lots of robots in factories and things because they're boring, repetitive, easy to do, don't need a lot of finicky changing precision. Everything's where it's supposed to be, right? Making a car out of metal is quite simple, but with fabric, it's all a bit, wobbly wibbly and foldy and really tricky. So we could have a service industry transformation. This will disrupt the jobs market. Like the industry revolution that we had several hundred years ago. No, it wasn't that bad. It was only, 50, 60 years ago. Doesn't sound that long. Anyway. But what will happen is that new roles will be created because somebody's got to look after all these robots and things like that. So here's a graph. Because, the regular jobs will decline, yes. But new jobs will take their place. New jobs that only humans can do. And so there will be a ripple effect across the economy. New service jobs and employment decrease, but tech jobs increasing. And people have more time to do training and leisure activities about what they want to know. And because prices will drop due to automation, there'll be more disposable income, which means that there'll be more professional services for you to spend that income on. Stuff like getting your hair dyed or something. Never looked at that either. So what can we do about the low-level, unskilled jobs that the robots could easily do? Well, there's a thing called universal income. And I think it's a solution because, it's like DevOps pipeline, but for society. It automatically distributes wealth. It takes wealth from the companies because their costs are dropping due to using robots and not staff. And therefore, do you think they're going to drop their prices? Probably not. So we'll tax them instead and then distribute that to the populace. And then it'll also provide an economic stability mechanism, which means it's a bit like in the UK, we can enjoy or endure the benefit system. However, the biggest issue with the benefit system is it costs a ton of money to actually run the damn thing. If we give everybody a universal income, universally, then we don't have that management layer or management cost of distributing it. Because everybody gets it, you don't have to decide whether you're worthy or whatever. And with that extra money in your pocket, you'll then be, encouraged to take on training. And part-time work maybe will become the norm. I'm still waiting for the 4-day week. It might happen. You just never know. So what would you do with your free time if robots handled all of your chores? Let me know in the comments below. So remember when cloud computing seemed radical? Well, just like that revolution, this one's coming faster than we think. The question isn't if, but when. And I think 2025 could be the year. So do you have any tech questions? Do you have any questions that I can help with? I've been an IT expert for over 10 years, IT expert for over 20. Well, apparently 30 according to the intro. Head on over to techanswers.club and we can get together and talk about all sorts of fun things. And thanks for watching. And if you got this far, be sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.